On an afternoon in August, 17-year-old Susie Stewart, there in the pink dress, stands before a judge in Jacksonville, Florida.
Find my notes, see what's going on.
Over the last few years, she's been charged with domestic battery, resisting arrest, and possession of marijuana, and cycled in and out of juvenile detention.
Yes, sir.
She violated probation repeatedly and was on the road to a long-term sentence. But that's not going to happen today.
Just keep up the good work and don't ever give up.
Because this is Girls Court, a year-old experiment to rehabilitate rather than incarcerate delinquent girls. Stewart's one of the first 9 teens to go through it. Girls Court recognizes that while many of these girls committed crimes, many are also victims.
Girls experience trauma at a different frequency and different kinds of trauma than boys, but that girls react differently and respond to that trauma differently.
A 2014 study showed 31% of girls in Florida's juvenile justice system have been sexually abused. That's 4 times the rate of boys. 41% of girls have been physically abused. Girls like Susie Stewart.
I felt like a reject. I felt like I couldn't get it right no matter what.
To hear Stewart tell it, her problems began when she was 9 years old. Her mother was in prison for a domestic dispute with a boyfriend, and Stewart says her father was physically abusive. She spent time in foster care and a state home for troubled kids. At 15, she ran away, then became a teen mom.
Angry, disappointment, confusion. You know, I didn't know who I was or what my worth was. My self-esteem was so low it's not even funny, you know.
After her first arrest, a domestic battery charge, and then detention, Stewart says she needed help, but never found anyone she could trust.
How do you feel like you were treated along the way?
I feel like everybody had the attitude of, you're not gonna make it anyways. So I started believing it. Then I was like, I ain't got nothing to lose. I'm gonna get locked up anyways. Doing stuff I wasn't supposed to because everyone made me feel like that's all I was worth.
Juvenile detention only reinforced her low expectations, even when she was released.
I said, okay, I'm leaving. Y'all won't see me again. No, you'll be back. That's kind of stuff they told us, you know. You'll be back.
And she was, by her count, around 6 times. So her probation officer recommended her case be transferred to the new Girls Court. It was launched by Judge David Gooding and children's advocates like LaWanda Rivora. She runs the Dolores Barr-Weaver Policy Center, an advocacy and counseling group for girls in Jacksonville.
What we see oftentimes when the girls have had a traumatic experience, that she doesn't always have a vocabulary to explain what's going on, and so she will act out.
All rise.
Although the total number of both girls and boys entering the juvenile justice system has dropped in Jacksonville and across the nation, rates have dropped more slowly for girls. Research suggests zero-tolerance policies and more aggressive policing of things like fighting at home have impacted girls more than boys.
Often the system's response is to push girls away by punishing them and not getting to the root cause of what's driving the behavior.
To be clear, though, I mean, a lot of these girls have committed serious crimes, and they do need to be held accountable for their behavior, right?
Absolutely. We would be the first to say that girls must be held accountable for their behaviors, but that has to be balanced with recognizing where we have failed to intervene early.
Earlier intervention may have helped Mia Paz. As a teen in Orlando, she cycled in and out of Florida's juvenile justice system.
There was resisting arrest, there was possession of marijuana, and then I also had possession of alcohol. I had fleeing and eluding, cop chase, like car chase.
Paz believes she was acting out because of trauma at home. She says her uncle began to sexually abuse her when she was in 7th grade.
It started just like very awkward and weird questions, and then feeling weird from unwanted touching. And then it wasn't until I thought, no, I don't want to do that, and then it was more violent.
She started getting into trouble, drinking and using drugs with her friends.
During the time that I was being abused, I was really trying to avoid being at home. It wasn't like I was smoking pot because I was bored. For me, it was because I was self-medicating. I would rather be high than think about the 2 hours until I go home.
Paz says she kept the abuse secret, and it made her distrust and fear adults, especially the police.
I was almost like a cornered dog. I would run. It was the fight or flight mentality. And when you have a police officer talking to them, you can't fight them or run.
But that's what Paz did. She was expelled and says she probably spent about 6 months of her high school years in rehab or detention.
I was very, very scared because I felt like the girls, I always felt like I was the toughest of my friends. And here I am in a group full of people that are all tougher than me.
Paz finally found help at another program for at-risk teens, the PACE Center for Girls, a network of schools started in Jacksonville 30 years ago as an alternative to incarceration. It offers high school classes and counseling at 19 schools across Florida. Paz finally talked about her abuse, and she flourished, went to college, and then to law school.
And it wasn't until at PACE that I didn't have to be the tough kid. I wanted to talk not just to my friends, but to my favorite counselors, to my favorite teachers. And I stopped looking at adults as the enemy, really.
LaWanda Ravora, who used to be the president of PACE, says it's crucial to find out what's driving girls' criminal behavior.
One of the major challenges that we have is that so many of the girls coming into the system have serious mental health issues that have gone untreated, and we expect the juvenile justice system to be the mental health provider.
Ravora's Policy Center partners with Florida's Department of Juvenile Justice to provide that care. Sometimes that's group therapy for girls who are detained.
You all have powerful voices, and to me, I see a lot of leaders in this room.
And counselors like Jenna Kramer will stick with these girls after they get out.
When you're back at home and you're out, you have that opportunity to start making those shifts.
Hey, Mom.
The Policy Center also helps girls incarcerated far away stay in touch with their therapists and families with counseling sessions via webcam.
But you have to stay on task, okay?
I'm going to.
You can do this.
The Jacksonville area locks up girls at higher rates than other parts of the state. Brooke Brady heads the juvenile division for the local state attorney's office and says it can be explained in part by an uptick in violent crime.
Unfortunately, there's some cases that it may be a first offense, but it's extremely violent, and we feel that that person's a danger to the community.
Brady also says sometimes her office has no choice but to pursue incarceration for girls repeatedly violating probation.
And to get them the services that they need if they're not staying at home and cooperating with that, unfortunately, commitment's the only alternative at that point. If there's any way to divert a case, we certainly look to do that.
Brady says Girls Court has helped her with that. Her office gets more information about the situations of girls like Susie Stewart, improving the chances they will get services rather than a sentence.
Susie's been straight for a long time. I trust her.
Judge Gooding works with attorneys on both sides, probation officers and counselors, to keep girls on track. They've all pooled existing resources to make Girls Court happen.
We try to reach the girl where she is. We try to provide support system not only for her, but also her family, whatever the needs of the girl might be.
The team got Stewart counseling at the Policy Center and into the PACE Center for Girls. Now they're trying to find childcare for her 2-year-old daughter.
You are more articulate than a lot of the lawyers I hear. So I know you can do this.
And for the first time, Stewart says, she has hope.
Even when I'm trying to give up on myself, even when I don't want to do it no more, they continuously push me. No, you have to do it. Remember, you got a baby. You have to do it. You can't give up. So then I start thinking like that. Even when I want to throw in a towel, I have to tell myself, no, I can't. I can't.